Hello and welcome to our first stamp camp for 2022. My name is Kylie Swain from Blossom Designs in Australia, and I hope you enjoy the Artfully Composed Stamp Camp tutorial. So this is what we'll be making, and your tutorial includes all your measurements in both metric and imperial. I apologise, can you hear the cockatoos in the background? They're really noisy. You'll be using the faux sea glass shapes as well. I really like those, apart from they're different from our normal rhinestones, and the Artfully Layered stamp set. I love the font in this set. Okay, so this is what you will be getting in your kit. You'll get your card base, which is tent style. I always work in tent style. And you'll have a evening evergreen piece, as well as a vellum piece. Just look at that vellum, it's gorgeous. And the DSP. So this is one side of the DSP, and there's nice flowery, colourful side on the other one, and this is for the inside of the card. And then die cutting wise, you're going to need one of these and one of these in evening evergreen, and you'll also have the sentiment cut out as well. So there it is there. So let's get everything out of the way. So this is how I store my stamps and my dies together. It just takes up less real estate on my desk. And I normally have a label on the dies as well. I've yet to label them, so that's my next job. So just putting that stamp on a clear block. So that's what we'll be doing in Just Jade. And then the sentiment we'll be using Versamark ink and white emboss powder. My children are playing hide and seek, and I don't know if you can hear them in the background either. So here's the ribbon. It's a different ribbon. It's quite easy to work with as well, so nice wide ribbon. Okay, so just put the card down here, and we're going to stamp. Let's get everything out of the way though. So as with my ink pads, I find them quite juicy, and I get my expired card and I just run it over the top just lightly, and you need a couple of times, and you can just see just give it a wipe, but you can see the ink pooled down the bottom part of that ink pad, and just use the top half, just pat gently. Always check. We're going to die cut that leaf out. And then this piece will be for the inside of the card, so just going to stamp the leaf in the bottom corner. Like that. always remember to put your lid on your ink pad so you don't get ink on your projects where they're not supposed to be anyway. Just give that a clean. Okay. I'm going to grab my cut and emboss machine. I apologise, it's very dusty. I haven't wiped it in a while, it seems, so I should have wiped it before I started the video. Alright, so just grabbing the outline die. My goodness, those cockatoos, they're right out my window. And just line that up, and I use painter's tape to hold mine in place. Make sure that you've got all the stickiness off the tape so that it still sticks, but it's not as sticky as it was when it's like brand new. Otherwise you'll tear your cardstock. So just going to gently pull that off. Keep it as flat to the cardstock as you can, to the surface. And while we're here, we're just going to die cut everything else we need. So run that through. You don't necessarily need to go back and forth, but I'm in such a habit of having my die cuts on this side that I just tend to run, even if I don't need to, I run it back and forth. So I start from the right hand side and go to the left. Strange, I know, but it's a habit. And then we're going to do the other leaf. So grab that off your plate. And you can use those inside pieces as well. Just putting all my dies back so I don't lose them. Just taking out the excess bits. This one's easy to take out. Just use your fingers. There's one small piece that needs a little bit of extra help. There we go. So there's our die cut pieces. And so to take this off, just grab the end of the tape and just pull like that, and with your finger still on the paper and on the die, just gently and slowly, and then you won't get any tearing. But do make sure that your tape is not so sticky. That's the main thing. Okay, so what I am going to do is find the inside piece. Grab my glue. And then just stick that down. Just so you've got an equal border on all four sides. Or as equal as you can make it. This is why I like using liquid glue, because I can move that layer around and get it in the right spot. I'm not so good with dry adhesive. So next we're going to do the outside of the card, so that evening evergreen layer is going to go directly onto the card base. If I can pick it up, there we go. Just the same as the inside. Get it as in the center as possible. Always hold, when you're using liquid glue, because you can move it around, just always hold one side of the card while you're, sort of burnishing the other side. And there is a right and a wrong way for the vellum. You've got writing on it, so keep an eye on that. I think that one says Washington, but make sure that you're putting it up the right way. Try not to use liquid glue when adhering vellum, because the liquid glue makes it warp. So just grab some tear and tape, and so I've got a fan on. It was quite hot filming. Nice hot summer day here in Australia. And that's just going to go on like that. I'm just making sure. So with that, you will still see the tear and tape behind the vellum, but that next layer of DSP will hide the tape, so it's not an issue. That's why I only just put it down the center, just a little piece. So you can see that adhesive there, and that's the other side to the DSP. It's all pretty, but I went with the polka dot side today. And that's going to go at an angle. So sort of keep it within the evening evergreen layer. All I can hear is the pitter-patter of feet outside. My kids. Okay. So now we're going to work on the next bit. Get those excess bits off. We don't need them. So grabbing your I can't remember what they're called. Totally gone out of my head now what that one is called. Versamark ink and your sentiment stamp. And I'm just going to grab my powder. I keep mine in a container. So just tap the ink onto the stamp and stamp away. And you can see that already. So do watch when you're using dark cardstock with white emboss powder, because you can just see some specks around. So if you've got a tiny brush, and it's, oh, there we go, now we're focusing. Just brush it away, because once you heat set that, you will see those little specks. Just move everything out of my way while I grab the heat tool. And watch the magic. Love this. So keep it moving, and then I will learn not to put the heat tool right under the camera, but it goes from matte white to glossy white, and that's when you know that it's all set. Do be careful, because it is cardstock, and the emboss powder can be hot, so don't sort of go to touching it straight away. Now you can cut this if you're able to cut freehand. Yes, go for it. Me, not so much. I always find that I cut crooked, and then it does my head in. But this is a way that if you want to get your lines straight, I line the solid line up. I don't know if you can see my ruler. So that's the solid line there with the bottom of the word thank. There we go. Yes, so I'm zooming in now. So there we go. Lining it up on the bottom there. And then I grab my pencil and I will just mark it. So you can see that line. It looks nice and straight. There you go, now you can see. So I'm using that pencil line as a guide, and I'm running the solid line, that black solid line there, along the pencil line. And again, I'll mark that with the pencil. And there's my lines. So I'm just going to grab my trimmer, and then I'll cut those lines. As I said, if you're good with cutting, then go for it. You don't need to do these steps. And then trim the other side. Can you hear my kids? Seriously. Told them I was filming. and then you just need to cut that length down. It's about 7.5 centimetres. So I cut one side and then roughly guessed perfect. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to put all the pieces together, and that ribbon is the same width as the vellum layer. God, I sound like a herd of elephants out in the hallway there. So I'm just going to get my ruler out. And I put this nick into the ream, the reel, and thread the ribbon through, and that holds the ribbon in place so it doesn't unwind on you, and then you have a half empty reel of ribbon. I'm just going to tidy this end up. So now it's just a matter of putting it together. So I'm just going to place things where I think they look good. So the evening evergreen is going to go on the bottom. So I tuck that behind the stamped leaf. And it doesn't need to go below the ribbon because your sentiment is going to hide everything. So if you want your die cuts to be higher, you can certainly place them higher above the ribbon, and they won't be seen. See how everything's hidden. So now we just need to adhere it all down. Grabbing my liquid glue again. And you will need some tear and tape. So put the tear and tape on the back of the ribbon, and you'll see that I will put it on the bottom half. So more towards one side than the other, and then when you're tucking your die cuts and your leaf in, you've got that space. If you want to go down further, you've got room to tuck them in lower. Just make sure you give the end of the ribbon, see how the ribbon comes, the adhesive comes back up, just give it a good burnish, and then the backing will come away quite easy. So remember which side you've got the ribbon lower on, and that's going to go towards the bottom of your card. So I'm just going to place that there. And then grab your liquid glue. Just place that on an angle, just slight angle. Now I'm just going to dab some liquid glue onto the end. You don't need much, because I'm wanting just the base of the die cut to adhere and leave the rest of it free and not stuck down. So for the next leaf, again just on the middle bit there. Just going to move that up a bit actually. There we go. Glue on my fingers, but that's okay. And then that will sit nicely there. If you need to, you can use your take your pick tool to take the backings off. And then that's just going to sit right there. And then I'm just going to add, so that piece comes up because you've only glued the bottom half, so I'm just going to add some extra glue, and then that will just stick to those top bits so that it doesn't flop about. And there you go, just let that glue dry a little bit, but we are just about done. So we're going to use the faux sea glass shapes. This is how I package my, when I open them I just slit the top bit. See how that's sticky? So I always leave it folded over, and then I get my scissors underneath and then I cut across, and then it's got its own little sleeve. If that's in the way, I do sometimes usually take that off, and if you can't remember exactly what the product is called, or at a glance you need to see, just cut the top of the cardboard piece off and put that in, and then you'll be able to remember what it is. But we're just going to place some around. I'm going to change that one on the green to one of the, I don't know if it's white, or if you wouldn't call it white, would you? But I'm going to put some green ones, and I'm going to put one on the ribbon today. Now deciding which of the glass shapes to use. I like these because they're not our traditional rhinestones. And there we go. Oh look, I've got a rogue one stuck. Let's put that one back. And there we have it. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you enjoy Stamp Camp with the Creativity Abounds design team. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Oh, I forgot this bit. Don't go away. Those pieces that I said you could reuse, the inside pieces, when you die cut, you can swap them over. So here is an example of two that I've done in jade, just jade, and I think pear pizzazz. Just another look. Okay, that's it from me. Bye.